Okay, so now we will gonna perform the broken user authentication attack. Okay, so what exactly is this? So yeah, broken user authentication is nothing but it is one of the critical security issue when an application fails to properly authenticate or authorize user, which can further on potentially allows unauthorized or unwanted access to a certain application resources which shouldn't have been allowed in the first place. Meaning, a user is able to misabuse the user authentication functionality, or I could say a user is able to abuse, or I would say abuse will going to be the right word. So the user is able to abuse the user's authentication mechanism, able to bypass certain security checks, and they are able to gain access of another user's account. This is what exactly the broken user authentication is all about. Majority of the time it has been observed that people tend to perform people tend to identify account takeover vulnerabilities when we talk about broken user authentication, and the same has been given to us as challenge number 3. It says that we have to reset the password of a different user, and for that what we have to do, we have to first identify different email addresses of another users on our vulnerable application, number one. Number second, then later on we have to perform the brute force attack. So let's see how we can do it. For that, I would have to go with let's start my bug, and this is what my vulnerable application is all about. This is how it looks. So first thing first, I'm gonna reset my own password. So my email was this z@z.com, and I will send the OTP. OTP has been sent to my registered email ID. Correct. Uh, my This is the endpoint, the forget password endpoint, and this is where I entered my email ID, and this is how the response looks like. And the response says that the OTP sent on the provided email ID z@z.com. Correct. For the moment, I'm gonna send this request to my repeater so that I can use it later on. Now I will have to enter the OTP. Correct. Suppose I am entering the OTP as 111, and the password which I want to reset for me should be this uh, alpha@123, where A I guess should be capital, yeah, ALPHA @123. Alpha@123 should be my password, and let me intercept this request also. So once I password do not match, okay, so sorry, ALP. Once I click on reset password, this is how my reset password request looks like. But if we see that if you see the request, we can see that while setting the while resetting the password, the application is by default including email address in this OTP check request, which we can abuse definitely. Let me forward this and see that this is the error message which I get. No problem. But there is one thing which we have to make sure, which is that whenever I tried to access the application, whenever I navigated the application, I observed that majority of the time the application has been using version 2 as the API version. But in order to reset the password, the application is using version 3. So I guess there might be some sort of rate limiting mechanism being implemented over here. So for that, let me send this request couple of more time, and if there is no rate limiting mechanism implemented, then I will be able to perform the brute force attack just by changing this email ID. If yes, then I will have to change the version control system over here. So yeah, after a couple of incorrect OTP request, I do get this type of HTTP response which says that I have exceeded the number of attempts. Correct. What if I go ahead and change this version 3 to version 2? And now if I keep sending this request again and again, I will only be given the response which will gonna say that the OTP is invalid and try again. Correct. So that means I can perform the brute force attack on this OTP. And by default, the application uses 4-digit OTP, which will not gonna be the tedious work for me to brute force it. Correct. But before that, what more I have to do? I have to find the email address of another user, which we can easily identify from the community request. Correct. The application indeed had the community page, which was leaking a lot of essential and juicy information. Correct. Such as vehicle ID and other stuff, nicknames and emails. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get one of the email address from here. So my target of interest email ID will be this. Or not this, let me go with this one. Robot001 is what I am looking for. So I'm gonna copy this email. Instead of me going ahead and directly pasting the email ID over here and performing the brute force attack, first I will need to generate the OTP for this particular robot user. So this is how I'm gonna generate the OTP for this user. And now I will send this version 2 OTP check request into my intruder. Okay, I will select the OTP because this is what exactly I have to perform the brute force on. And now I will have to select the number. This is for the demonstration purpose. So what I can do, I can perform the brute force attack from, I can set the brute force, not brute force, the OTP value from 0001 to 9999. And if I go ahead with this value, this will gonna take a lot of time. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use some batch numerical numbers. Batch as in I will use 1000 set of OTPs to perform the brute force attack each at a time. So I will start with suppose 7000 to uh 8000. Okay, so the total payload count is 1001 and my minimum integer should be 4, maximum integer should be 4. Correct. Then later on we also get to see the error message. So I'm gonna filter out the error. For that, what I have to do, I will have to go to the settings option in grep match and I'll have to add that exception over here, invalid OTP. And for the resource pool, what I want 100 concurrent requests should be made to the application in order to perform the brute force. So yeah, we are all set. Let's start the attack and let's see whether we are able to successfully get the OTP or not. And yeah, one more thing, if we are able to successfully brute force the OTP, then the password for this user will automatically gonna be set to alpha@123. Okay, so it will gonna take couple of minutes to complete the brute force. So let's wait. Okay, now the brute force attack has been succeeded. So yeah, as you can see, I have a lot of 500 status code, but one with 200 status code. So this OTP is 7148. Correct. So this OTP indicates that we have successfully verified the OTP. And once the OTP got verified, the password for this user, which is this, it will automatically gonna be set. Okay, the password will automatically gonna be reset to this one. Okay, so now the moment of truth. Let me navigate to this application. But first, I will turn off the interceptor. Then I will navigate to my application and I will head back to login page. And over here, I will copy this email ID, paste it over here. And for password, this will be the password which we have just resetted, and I will perform login. And okay, yes, we are redirected to this dashboard page that indicates that yes, we have successfully gained access of this user. But since I have performed the brute force attack, the application may or may not behave properly. So this is one of the condition which I can see over here. Okay, so this is how we can perform the brute force attack and gain access of another user. So yeah, that's all for now. Later on, if you guys want to try, you guys can try to change the password of some other user, such as we have add a user, we have a much more different set of users, different set of email IDs. So you guys can perform this password reset attack on those email addresses. And later on, we will look at excessive data exposure.